Tier lists are all the rage at the minute. Everybody's doing them. We've already done one.
Yes, we did. It caused issues.
Well, it took a while. It was not particularly well edited, but we're going to do another one today on camera with the Ninth Doctor.
Yes, I'm excited for this one
Yeah.
because it was a good series and a good era.
I would go on to say this is probably my joint favourite of New Who, this series. This and Series 4 for me are the absolute peak.
I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, we got some cracking episodes here.
We'll crack on with some Space Buns and Tea first.
Yes, we got some Space Buns and Tea from our reactions to those lovely Doctor Who songs.
Yes, we're going to have to do more of them because they seem to do quite well.
Yeah, well, people enjoyed them, and we enjoyed doing it. It was a good laugh.
Did. It was good fun. I'm still traumatised, and I'm going to be paying for therapy for the rest of my life, but, we'll do it. Because
subscribers by the end of April, we'll do a Doctor in Distress cover. We're not joking. Unfortunately.
I'll be in distress.
Yeah. People are going to have to listen to us sing. Anyway,
as if they don't at karaoke.
Yeah.
So first one's from Gabby Lloyd. Hello again.
Yeah.
So someone's relative.
I don't know. I'm joking. Hello. My friend.
She said, "Hello. I wanted to ask you what you thought of the book versions of Doctor Who episodes. Can't wait to see the song cover." I can for that bit, but
I think you're on about Target novelizations, Gabby. I think I enjoy them. Some of them add a lot more to it's the classic series ones especially really flesh out some bits. They add more to the characters, the descriptions. The books don't have to worry about a BBC budget in the 70s and 80s and stuff, so you can get away with a lot more, and they really do add a lot. To be fair,
well, it allows you to get lost in your imagination of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't read the books personally, but
they're good. And I really like as well, some of them, the audiobooks as well really do work, because usually they're often read by one of the cast members from that story. And for me personally, I very rarely have time to sit down and read a book. So sometimes when I'm on the go, I can just stick it on in my ears.
And go vroom vroom.
Yeah, just when I'm doing my shopping or something.
Sound.
But yeah, no, I do enjoy them.
The next one's from Adam Purcell. Thank you for coming by.
Hello, Adam.
He says, not just what had you done to deserve this, but what had the world done to deserve some of those. Great stuff. You like the video. He says, an obvious one, for him at least, you haven't heard covered, is Doctoring, the TARDIS from the 80s.
Oh, that's
back
brilliant.
when he was at school. 12-inch record. Apparently Barrowman did a track called The Doctor and I.
Oh god, I forgot about that. I completely forgot. I have heard that. It's every bit as terrible as you can imagine.
I can't wait for that one.
It's a thing that exists. I won't spoil it because we will do that one at some point, because that is that's Barrowman being Barrowman, to be fair.
And he says Craig Ferguson did a Doctor Who song Cold Open on the Late Late Show in America. Might be worth some time to watch.
I haven't seen that one.
No, me. So that could be interesting. I could end up wanting to just disintegrate.
The John Barrowman one, you will like. I think that is like the new series version of Doctor in Distress. Yeah. But anyway, thank you very much both for your Space Buns and Tea.
Yes.
We will aspire to react to some more of those as well. And if you've got anything else to add, please keep them coming.
Yeah, we do love the reaction videos.
Yeah, it was good fun. The main topic today is the tier list for the Ninth Doctor. So obviously Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor for only one series back when the series first came back in 2005.
Yes,
I think he was absolutely phenomenal in it. It's an absolute shame. I understand, obviously, what with everything going on, he didn't want to do more. It's just, I wish he did.
Yeah, you and me both. He is back with Big Finish. He's doing audiobooks with them.
Yeah, they're good.
So
I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to any of them yet.
Listen to snippets.
The first series, I was like, Christopher Eccleston was brilliant though, but the rest of them have been pretty stellar. There's some quality episodes in there.
Hearing him play the Doctor again is proper nostalgia, back to childhood stuff for me.
Yeah, I
because
remember
he's the first Doctor I fully watched the entire series of.
Yeah, they announced him coming back in, I think it was like middle of first lockdown, so it was like, oh my god, thank you. And then it was like coming in May 2021 or something like that. I was like, really? Ages away. And hearing that trailer when it first came out, hearing him say fantastic again, I was like, yes.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. But we're getting... Why did you make him sound like he's from Birmingham? But we're going to kick this off then with episode 1 of series 1, Rose. I think this is a pretty stellar opening to the revival. It's everything that, if you're going to reintroduce Doctor Who, it's like a perfect way to do it. Like, you do it through the companion, have a relatable character, relatable families. It's well shot. It's brilliantly paced. It doesn't really... it's like it's not one of those ones that's too quickly paced. It does like have the moments where you can sort of reflect and things. There's that brilliant scene where the Doctor gives Rose that monologue before he goes into TARDIS.
Yeah.
And there's that whole thing about I can feel the turn of the earth and everything. That is stellar.
I enjoyed it a lot because you got a little bit of Goofy Doctor as well. You got quite a bit of that with Eccleston. It was great. I really enjoyed that.
He's always said in hindsight, like he's always felt like he didn't get the humour quite right, but I think he gets the humour spot on.
Yeah.
For that incarnation, he has that sort of sense of fun, but you can tell there is a lot of there's a darker side to him.
Yeah, he's been through the ringer a bit, and he in the revival in the story, he's just coming off the Time War, having ended it. As he goes on to later talk about in Dalek, which we'll get to in a bit, but honestly, I think it's a very, very strong episode to start with, and it sets the tone for the rest of the season.
Where we put in, I would say fantastic, which is quite apt. Yeah. Bang the microphone, you Wally.
There we go.
Lovely.
Right, the End of the World is next.
Yeah, this was good. This was their first. This was the first showcase, really, of now. Look what Doctor Who can do now in the 21st century with the advances in the way that TV is being made and everything. And I think it still holds up pretty well. It's nearly 18 years old.
Yeah, and considering the first series of Who literally only went to the future or to the past, they didn't go to any planets.
Yeah,
they rehashed the same space station for multiple stories.
Yeah, this one's a different space station, but the first series is on Earth or on Platform 1 or Satellite 5 / the game station. So it's a really interesting way to take it, to be fair. I think it's another one as well. It's really excellently paced. Christopher Eccleston's great. I think there's so many scenes where he's not giving these big monologues with big speeches, but he's just doing everything really subtly, and I think you have to have that element of being able to do the subtler scenes, more subtle scenes. Is subtler a word? I don't think so, but
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I enjoy it. There's some great moments in this. I think using toxic and everything is quite funny. The whole thing with Cassandra being the last pure human and all that, even though she's really like nothing like a human would be at all. Yeah. I enjoy it. It gets a bit of flack. I don't think it's as strong as Rose.
No, it kind of suffers a bit because of where it comes.
I don't know. I just think the episode as a whole is slightly. I don't know. It was definitely not bad. I would put good. It's
good. Yeah, it's better than okay.
Oh yeah. Unquiet Dead. Then I do love the Unquiet Dead. I think it's one of the ones. This is ones that people often come back to and say, "Oh, this is probably the weakest of series one." You're wrong. You're not wrong.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's one I break out every Christmas. The Nightstalk is only Christmas episode. So
yeah, and it's not technically a Christmas episode.
What do you mean?
Well, it's not. It wasn't released at Christmas time.
Well, there was Chimes of Midnight, but everybody loves to look at that on December 24th. It's set at Christmas. It's got Charles Dickens. It's ghosts. It's set in Cardiff. It's our first episode that we get set in Cardiff. It's the first one really that sets up everything to do with Torchwood. Because this is where we get the rift. Yeah. And everything. This is the one that it's got a lot of implications further down the line, whether it be the Rift and Torchwood itself.
It's quite an essential story to the rest of the Whoniverse.
It's one of those ones I think everybody on across the board has, really brings their A game to the acting side. Especially, I mean, we get the smaller side characters, but, Gwyneth, Mr. Sneed and Charles Dickens are all fantastic. It's really good. It gives me classic Who vibes, a lot. Yeah. You could see where you would sort of flesh things out a bit longer and get the cliffhangers if it was a classic. I just really enjoy it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's really well paced. I do love the idea of gas mummies running around Cardiff.
It's something you wouldn't get in any other show.
No, it definitely, especially as a kid as well watching it. It was a nice little. Okay, so this isn't going to be like the rest of the TV I'm watching. Yeah, like it was almost like our first step into I'm watching grown-up TV because it was something remotely scary. Yeah, which was nice.
And that cold open as well is
it's great.
You could see that being a cliffhanger. Yeah, and that's the whole point. They wanted to do that cold open as if it was a mini cliffhanger. And the way I remember it did sort of give me the shivers a bit when I was 5 years old when I was watching this for the first time. And when she sort of walks towards screaming towards the camera and it like cuts into the credits, I was like, mwah, chef's kiss, brilliant. Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah. So next is Aliens of London.
Yes, this is one I have very strong memories of watching it the first time round. I think Aliens in London is very underrated, and people do take the mick out of the Slitheen a bit. There are some shots where you see them, where they're in the big bulky costumes running quite slowly, and then it cuts to the CGI models, which look a bit dated now, to be fair. But it doesn't bother me. I've always said that with Aliens in London, if the story wasn't to do with the Slitheen, it was like the Zygons or something, and it was a bit darker and stuff, people would love it. And the only reason people hate on it is because of the Slitheen, and I don't mind it. And at the end of the day, this is a family show. You've got to appeal. We've had, appeasing the fans and general audiences, and Unquiet Dead was a bit more geared towards. All right, not geared specifically towards adults, but it's a more mature story.
Yeah.
And Aliens in London is as well when you think about it, because when you take the Slitheen away, when you're not looking at them as the Slitheen and you're seeing them as the politicians and stuff, it is a very, it's not subtle at all when it comes to really like parodying the government. There's the whole thing about massive weapons of destruction and stuff. It's not subtle when you think about it now.
No.
And you can totally see that, obviously Russell T Davies loves a bit of Tory bashing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't big up that.
He does.
But I think, and it's great as well, it's really well paced. You get like the sort of setup and the, not as grand as other stories, but there is a bit of location hopping around London. And then World War III then, and I'm jumping ahead, but it's confined a lot more. But Aliens in London, I think, does a brilliant job setting up. I remember that cliffhanger at the time. I think I mentioned this in our first video, that I remember being so excited about the fact that we had a cliffhanger at all. Like, not actually about the cliffhanger, just the fact, oh my god, Bobby's doing cliffhangers. Like, it's exactly like the old... I was 5 years old. Like, oh god, get some sunshine, Will. I'm happy to put Aliens of London in fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really enjoyed it. It was such a good episode. The Slitheen were done dirty a fair bit in both of them, because, I mean, farting monsters just made me laugh. It kind of took out the seriousness of the story, I think. Yeah,
it does detract, but at the end of the day, this is a show very much in, not in general, but the revival, this is the first series, you've got to hook the kids as well.
Yeah.
And it worked for me as a 5-year-old watching that. I was engaged in the story because I was like, wow, farting aliens, it's funny. And it does get you hooked into it. And it's a bit of fun, because otherwise, if you don't have that element of fun to this is quite a dark story.
Yeah.
If you think about the actual logistics of it, skinning politicians and, climbing inside them, possibly World War III. It's a dark story.
It is.
So
really
you've got to
down
balance
to the
it, and I think maybe it does. The balance is slightly off, but I can forgive it because it's so early in the revival, and you've got to hook the kids in. This is what I mean. We've gone on to World War III, but I'm actually said, but it's fine. But I like the confined nature. I think Penelope Wilton as Harriet Jones as well as an iconic character. I never got tired of seeing Harriet Jones.
No,
I wish we'd seen
great.
more of it. I'd have loved to see her sort of, pop up a couple of times. I think
it is
great.
a shame. It is a shame. She did. I mean, after this, you don't see her till the Christmas invasion.
Yeah.
And then after that, not until you get her name dropped, but you don't see her again until Journey's End and Stolen Earth and Journey's End.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because she was such a good character, and there was a lot you could have done with her.
I'm waiting for the day that Big Finish snap her up to do a Torchwood audio or something, because they've done a lot with different side characters. They've done one, with Zach from the Impossible Planet and everything, because he mentions being linked to the Torchwood archive once, and that was enough for them to go, right, well, we'll get him to do one. Could easily have done Harriet Jones as like the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I think that would have been really funny. But I think she's great. There's the tense scene with Mickey and Jackie with the Slitheen in the flat.
Oh, I love that scene.
The stakes are so
good.
high, and the music as well in this serial is brilliant.
And you see Jackie finally realise what travelling with the Doctor means for Rose. Is that
Camille Kajuri's brilliant in this. It's one of the best
She
episodes.
could legitimately lose her daughter somewhere or in some time and never know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like reality sitting in, and she's trying to process that while trying to help stop World War III.
Yeah, and it does flesh out Jackie and Mickey a bit, because at the end of the day, the Doctor and Rose are trapped in a room. It's down to, they're figuring stuff about it is down to Jackie and Mickey to do quite a lot of the heavy lifting. It's Mickey that's breaking, with the Doctor's help, but it's Mickey that's launching the missiles and everything. And
it's an awful lot of character development.
Yeah, and you get that wonderful scene at the end, just before they're about to fly off, and the Doctor sort of says to Mickey, well, you could come with us, and he's like, no, I'm not ready for that yet. But, and the Doctor respects Mickey's decision by, not letting him sort of say to Rose, oh yeah, he was too scared to come. He sort of plays it off and go, no, you're not coming with us. No. Yeah. Even though it's Mickey that's rejected him. And it's I really enjoy it. It's, It's there's quite a lot I found with some of the two parts in the Davis era. There's a bit of a drop in quality between part 1 and part 2 sometimes, occasionally.
Yeah.
But for this one, I think it's consistently...
Well, you get all the hype and stuff up in the first part, really, don't you? And then does sort of tail off. You're still a little bit gassed going in, and then you get around the middle of the second episode, it starts to tail off, and you're just starting to lose interest.
There's a lot of Deus Ex Machina in the Russell T Davies, especially the finales and things. But I'm World War III just as fantastic as Aliens in London. Aliens of London. By God, what is wrong with me today? I cannot talk.
Dalek.
Goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. First viewing of the Daleks since Classic Who went off the air.
Yeah, genius way of not having, because there was a bit of a push to have the Daleks in the first episode, and Russell was like, no, keep it for the middle of the series, and we get that sort of second, Yeah,
because people will start to lose interest after that.
And it's quite, you see it a lot, figures will drop in the middle of a series. So you have in the middle of the series the first return of the Daleks. It's brilliant. It's based on the Siege. It's very like Troughton-esque story. The action's great. The Dalek, I think the two like MVPs of this are Christopher Eccleston and Nicholas Briggs. That scene between Dalek and the Doctor in the cage, the initial confrontation is like, it's brilliant.
It's great.
I think this is one of those episodes as well. I think I would probably know word for word.
Yeah,
I could put it on and I could speak along with it, which is a bit sad, but it's true.
There's nothing sad about that.
But it's just,
you get to see the Doctor facing the enemy. He thought he wiped out for the first time.
Yeah,
and he's coming to terms with the fact that what he did. There's still survivors out there. He's got to finish it. He kind of goes back to that whole "I need to end this time war now."
Yeah,
kill them all. Like War Doctor-esque vibes.
Yeah, and he's there with the gun, and it's that thing of Rose is changing the Doctor into sort of a warmer person.
Yeah,
and there's that, the whole thing that he doesn't kill the Doctor it doesn't kill the Dalek is because Rose is like, no, I'm not gonna let you do it. I just think that the Daleks are used brilliantly. This is to show, we've seen loads of Daleks, and we all know the danger was just as how just one Dalek can do all of that in a underground base, 5 miles underground, however far it is, whatever.
Yeah, it's just like if one Dalek is left alive, the universe is in such a state of peril.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. I love it.
It's just I'm thinking about it now. I just want to watch it now.
Yeah. No, it's for me. It is just that scene between the Dalek and the Doctor in the cage, where they're kind of reminiscent about the Time War. Well, they are. And you're seeing how bad it was for the Doctor, and you kind of get to feel how bad it was for the Dalek a bit as well. It gives you a little bit of empathy towards the evil tricycle.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And it's
really, really well done. Robert Sherman is a fantastic writer. He's probably, if I had to pick a writer out of Doctor Who, regardless of any medium, he's easily in my top 5, because he's done some fantastic stuff in the expanded universe, and he really gets Doctor Who. And when you look at his expanded universe stuff, it's very much like taking Doctor Who apart and doing different things with it. For the fact that he can come in and just write this like standard, it's in terms of Doctor Who, it's nothing we new. It's very safe. It's a base in the Siege. It's Doctor versus an alien, but the character stuff is what brings it up that extra level.
Yeah,
and the guest cast. I don't know about the American accents entirely. I don't know. They might even be genuine Americans. I might just be really like.
You might just be bashing
really
Americans
naive.
now.
I know. That's really bad, isn't it? I should have checked that, shouldn't I? Oh, never mind. Moving on. Oh, the long game. The black sheep of season 1 for me. I don't hate it. I just don't really find
it's key to the final 2-parter.
Yeah, that's what it is, and it's quite interesting to do a sort of seemingly throwaway episode and then have massive consequences for the finale. But if you look at it as an individual episode, I don't rate it that much. I don't go back to it very often. It's probably the one I watch least of Eccleston's stuff. It's just
I believe I put it in the underrateds video.
Did you? You did, yeah. You
I did.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Yeah, I'm. You're a bit more warmer on it than me.
Yeah, I am a lot warmer on it.
I think Simon Pegg's great.
Simon Pegg is great. It's just for me how it ties in with the overall story of the series. I know I bash on a lot about like the continuity of the story through each episode, but it's nice you have like your episodes where you're going off doing random things, but it still all ties in together. Yeah. Like, okay, so you can see how it's all pieced together to get where they end up. That's why I like it so much, because you see the Doctor, you see the Doctor doing good things, saving the day, thinks he's done a great job, But then, obviously, in the Bad Wolf and Parting of Ways, he realizes he messed up massively.
Yeah.
In just 100 years, he effectively destroyed the human race.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those ones as well. The Doctor and Rose don't really have that much to do in terms of the actual episode. It's very much just wandering around and talking to people and stuff. And I don't like Adam.
No, that's the only thing for me that
Adam
stops it from being good.
For me, he's like Adric, but even worse.
Yeah.
And at least with Adric, you've got a very nice bloke, whereas in Matthew Waterhouse, the less said about Bruno Langley, the better.
Yeah, but we don't need to discuss him.
Adam, I think, it's an interesting route to take in showing, like a companion that the Doctor's like, absolutely not, you are not someone I want to travel with me. It's not really been done before. No. Because it's very much like, oh, what are you doing on board my ship? Okay, well, stay with me for years on end. But whereas he gets the first, as soon as he can, he dumps Adam right back at home.
It's because of how much of it's mostly down to the amount of tampering he did.
Yeah.
But
and it's selfish. He did it for his own end. It's not like he was doing it to. He was just For me, I don't know.
I'd put it as okay purely for the fact that I just don't like Adam in this. He's the one thing that's stopping me from putting it in good.
Yeah, that's fair. I would put it in okay anyway. I wouldn't say it's bad. I don't think any episode from this series is bad, but it's not. It's a definite cut below the rest, I think. Father's Day. This for me is personally another GOAT. I'll be honest. I don't know about you. I love it. I think it's a really interesting concept. It's a very simple concept of, changing time and everything and locking all these characters in there. But it's one of those ones where the characters really shine through. And I think it's one of the ones that shows just how different New Who is compared to Classic Who, because we're not, if this was Classic Who, it would be very much, oh, right, you go over there. Okay, lovely. But in this, the character stuff is so rich and so deep. And Sean Dingwall as Pete is fantastic. I love Pete Tyler. And there's stuff where Rose realizes that, after growing up so much without her dad really being there, and Jackie's been out to be such a wonderful man, but really their marriage was quite strange. Pete was having affairs and constantly, he was a bit of a Del boy. It's really rich. I love it, and I love the Reapers. They look awesome even now, 18 odd years later, still hold up really well.
Yeah, no, it is a good episode. It's interesting, the concept they're going with. You do get a fairly companion-heavy part to the story as well, after they manage to kill the Doctor off temporarily.
And even the Doctor, there's a point where they sort of, they have the argument, and she's like, well, go on. He's like, go on then, do what you like. Yeah. And he's, she goes back in time with the intention of being there for him, but in that split moment, decides to save him. But the Doctor sees it as like it's some sort of big grand plan, because she only agreed to go with him when he said, oh, it also travels... train. Also says it travels in time, and I don't know. It's a multi-layered story. I can't get enough of it. I do. And it is
incredible.
Makes me cry. It does.
It is
occasionally.
It is a hell of an emotional story.
If you're in a bit of an emotional mood and you put this one on, you'll shed a tear unless you haven't got a heart. Yeah, I love this. This is, and Paul Cornell is another one who's a fantastic Doctor Who writer and has done wonderful stuff in expanded medium and not enough on telly.
I am glad they didn't do Father's Day type stuff again, really.
Yeah, it's not really, you couldn't really do a sort of this narrative.
This
really
is a one-time story,
and I think a lot, you can look at series 1 and chop it into two halves. You got before Dalek and after Dalek, and before Dalek it's very much like, there are dark elements to it, but it's very much like fun running around the universe and everything. Not to say that doesn't happen later on,
just to kind of coax you in, really, innit?
Yeah, and then by that point you're attached to characters, so you can do things like Dalek, you can do things like Father's Day. I just think, it's wonderful. It really is.
You could even go as far as to do things like The Empty Child.
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
You've been practicing that, haven't you?
Yes. That's all I'm doing to help myself sleep at night, is just practice segues for our videos.
Yeah. Empty Child is very good. It's very creepy. Again,
it scared the hell out of me as a kid. I actually couldn't sleep for a couple of nights after watching the first part of this two-parter.
It's a really good one to put on in the dark, sort of, if you want a bit of a creepier story. Yeah. I love when Doctor Who does World War II stories across the board, pretty much without, there are a couple of exceptions.
Without Victory the Daleks. Sorry, slight cough.
There are a couple of exceptions, but to me, they usually are pretty flipping solid.
Yeah. This is prime example. Top tier World War II story.
Yeah,
for Doctor Who.
Great. We get I used to watch it and think nothing of it, but ever since watching One Foot in the Grave, every time I see Richard Wilson, I just see Victor Meldrew. and it sort of does distract a little bit from me, which is why I'm kind of glad he has a small part. But there's brilliant dialogue in it, you know. There's stuff about, you know, I'm jumping ahead to the next episode, but when the nanobots do their thing, and you know, that woman goes up to Dr. Constantine and was like, "Oh well, when I saw you last, I only had one leg," and he's like, "Well, are you sure you haven't miscounted? There is a war on," and everything. It's just stuff. It's brilliant.
It's great.
There's some great funny, as dark as this and as atmospheric and as tense as this can be. There are some genuinely really funny moments to it.
Yeah, and there's some proper creepy scenes
Yeah.
throughout it. Like the kid, obviously, if you should have probably seen this by now.
Yeah.
He can talk through any phone grill. The TARDIS phone blowing rings.
Yeah.
And this thing never rings. It's
Not
hooked up to anything.
I've just remember one thing. Could we just compliment Rose on her upper body strength? Hang on to that barrage balloon for like what 20 minutes.
Billy Piper, that was incredible.
Well, even not necessarily the idea of Rose just being like, "Oh, what's this mysterious rope falling from the sky? Oh, don't worry, kid. I'm gonna. Oh no, I'm above London in a Union Jack T-shirt. It's not the smartest thing Miss Tyler has ever done.
No,
but it was good.
We'll get on to more.
We meet Captain Jack in this as well.
Yes, we do.
I think
it's great.
Jack has one of the strongest introductions of of a lot of companions. You know, he's you know, straight off the bat, you know what he's like. You can tell he's blending in. He's a bit cheeky, he's a bit flirty. There's obviously a bit more to him. There's a bit of a dark side to him when it's revealed that, you know, he's lost those 2 years, which I always found weird that they never touched on again.
Yeah.
Like, I know when you make him immortal, it doesn't really matter that he's lost 2 years because he can live forever. So what's the difference? But
yeah, but you kind of want to know what's gone on.
Yeah, I just wish they'd touched on it a little bit to find out what happened in those 2 years. But I think Empty Child for me is fantastic.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, the Doctor Dances then, the second part is just, I think there's not really much to say. It's difficult to do the two parts from this series because how I feel they don't really change for me. I will say I probably think that the Doctor Dances is even better.
Yeah, this is one of the rare occasions where the two-parter of Russell T Davies, the second part outdoes the first.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, you get that amazing monologue almost of Eccleston in that kid's room.
Yeah. In
Jamie's room. And the tape's going because Dr. Constantine's interviewing the kid, seeing if he knows what's going on. But then you hear the tape stop and you still hear Jamie.
Yeah, and Stephen Moffat does that a lot because he does it twice in this episode because you have that, and then when all the kids are with Nancy, you hear the typewriter clicking. It's like, well, if you're not typing, who is? And they do that twice in the same episode. And then in the girl in the fireplace, they do it with the whole, if that clock's
ticking
broken,
clock.
why can I still hear ticking? And then again in, you know, it's used a lot in Silence in the Library with the repeating, well, you know, Doctor, we should go and all that.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting trope that we face here. I just think I love it because I love the climax, the build to the finale where they're all in that, they're on the what is to be the bomb site. You know, Jack disappears and they think, oh god, how are we going to get out of this? And it turns out that the nanobots are actually there to save them. They just got it wrong, that's all.
Yeah.
And everyone lives. There's that great, and I love the bit where Eccleston's, you know, explaining what's happening. He's just going like that, and it's just a brilliant pace to it. It's so well directed. I just yeah, goat, stick it in, goat.
Yeah. No, it's just great, and you get to see him happy and smiling and
yeah.
And
the
let me
scene
have
in the end of the
this.
TARDIS as well when they rescue Jack and he's like, oh, shut the door, your spaceship's about to blow up, there's going to be a draft. It's solid stuff. It's solid stuff.
We do take a turn from the darker / happy ending of story, or said dark story, to Boomtown, which I feel was a lot more comical.
It is at the start. I think the stuff at the start is really quite funny, where they're chasing Margaret round and with the teleport and everything, and like, you know, they're all going through different exits, and like the Doctor's running and Rose is running, Jack's diving over trolleys, and then Mickey's walking around with his foot in like the mop bucket and everything.
Oh, it's great.
I love the bit where they're in the office, and I'd like to speak to the mayor, and you just hear her like panicking and running, and she's not taking visitors today. She's climbing out the window, isn't she?
It's like when she's trying to run away as well, and the Doctor's using a screwdriver to teleport her back. Oh, it's
why
great.
can't you leave me alone? What did I ever do to you? You tried to kill me and destroy this entire planet.
Apart from that,
it's really funny. But then
it's great. But it takes such a dark turn.
Yeah, you get that really interesting look at the Doctor and Margaret when they go for dinner. You know, because the whole point is that they're stuck in Cardiff. You know, and there's nothing wrong with Cardiff. We love Cardiff.
It's great. Down the bay as well. You could be in a much worse place. You could be in Newport.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine that? There was a rift through Newport and they had to go for dinner somewhere. Jesus Christ.
KFC.
More Newport bashing. Yeah, I think that there's just, you know, and it doesn't feel jarring either. It's not like, haha, this is really funny, and it's like, oh, you're a killer too. It's not. It's quite like gradual. And it doesn't start off with immediately at each other. They're never really confrontational with each other over the dinner. They're, it's very much just like, well, you're a killer too, and Margaret's. I think there's that wonderful line as well where what is it? It's like, oh, it's something about the Doctor saying you're not, just because you occasionally on a whim when the wind's in the right direction you happen to be kind doesn't make you not a monster. But Margaret points out, but you've also killed people as well. And there's it's great stuff. And then there's the stuff, I think we get that sort of culmination of the Rose Mickey relationship thing where he's basically quite rightly states, you made me feel like I was nothing because you ran off with someone else. Yeah. All right, it might not be you ran off in the middle of like a relationshipy romantic kind of way, but you still left me behind. Yeah. Just off the cuff.
Dropped him like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. And it's really good stuff. The only thing I would say is there's not a lot for Jack to do, but it's not really his episode.
No, no, it's kind of right for him to take the back seat and only really pop up at the end and at the beginning when they're having a cup of tea.
He's basically, exactly. He's having a wander around Cardiff and then he spends the rest of the time in the TARDIS, which is ironic, really, because it'll be the opposite way around soon. But there's some lovely locations. I'm not just saying that because I love Cardiff.
No, but the location works great.
The way they use it, it's a really nice shot. I do love
that scene in the restaurant, and like you just see the entire time Margaret trying to one up the Doctor, and he's just one step ahead of her.
Oh,
where she's just trying to kill her. Yeah, poison dart, and he
just catches it and puts it in his drink, and
we exhale the venom through our mouths, and he just sprays.
And he's just there like, oh, steak and chips. And it's another thing as well that I think that grounds the Ninth Doctor being quite real, because you could never imagine any of the classic Doctors sitting down for a meal and having, I'll have steak and chips.
No, and it's you get that like you realise that they're having to spend time with the person with the creature they're going to have to send to their execution. And she does point out, it's like, could any of you do it? Have dinner with the person you're going to execute.
Yeah.
And Doctor's the only one who can keep eye contact, and he jumps at the opportunity almost.
Yeah, I think this one for me, I don't think it's necessarily fantastic because I don't think it's as good as the stuff we've got in there already, but I do feel that
it's
good. It's definitely good. Yeah, I've got to go good with this one. I think it's one that I haven't watched that in a while. I might have to rewatch that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on my list. I might just rewatch the whole series, to be honest. Yeah. I'm a bit of a pain for doing that.
I love series 1.
Yeah.
I think, finale wise, bloody strong stuff, to be honest.
Yeah. So we get this beautiful 2-parter. It starts off. I felt the start was a tad slow with the game show stuff, but it did set everything in place.
It is a little bit. It's very much set, like putting all the pieces, having all your ducks in a row and all that. And I think it is slightly dated now by having the weakest link. The weakest link.
Yeah, with the android.
Yeah, and Big Brother and that. I don't even know what the show's called with Trini and Susanna. It was never really my cup of tea, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it is weird, and I think having, Trini and Susanna come on to do the voice of the robots, the same with Anne Robinson. I did it again. It's Robinson. I can't get my... But having Anne Robinson come on and do the voice of the android, where she's brilliant. And it is just Anne Robinson just as a robot.
Yeah.
There's some great guest cast performances. What's his face who plays Roderick?
I can't remember.
Oh, his name's gone up. Patterson Joseph. He is a really good. Roderick's a really slimy, like, you just hate him.
Do anything to win. Only cares about his money.
Yeah, he's a proper slimy bugger. Joe Joyner as Linda as well. She was really sweet, and for a fact that she was never going to join the TARDIS. So as soon as he's like, you can come with me, he's like, well, she's going to die. She's dead in a bit.
Yeah, no, that was still hard to watch though. That bit, I think.
We'll get on.
You saw the Doctor in a even through. All the way through Bad Wolf, there was a bit of chemistry.
Yeah, there's a bit of a bit of cheekiness going on there.
It's like, what's going on here? Like, Rose ain't gonna be happy about this.
Yeah, they do have really lovely chemistry though, and I'd love to have seen a bit more of it. And the cliffhanger to this episode where it's revealed that it's Daleks and not just one or two. There's millions of them.
Yeah.
And the Doctor, instead of just going, because the Doctor at that point, you think how we reacted to one Dalek. My voice sounded like a Dalek then. I've been doing a lot of talking on the phone today. But for him to, react like that to one Dalek, to then be defiant by this point, being confident, being defiant, regaining who he is as the Doctor, and to just stand up and be like, no, because I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And I'm going to rid wipe every stinking Dalek out of the sky. And the cliffhanger isn't a cliffhanger for the Doctor; it's a cliffhanger for the Daleks. The Daleks are the one that are in peril because the Doctor's like, "I'm coming to get you."
Yeah.
With Jack in the TARDIS, and it's like it's the Daleks that are the ones going, "Oh God, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah. What have we done?
Yeah,
We've antagonised the wrong person.
We keeping you up.
Oh, mate, I've had a long day.
Yeah, for me, fantastical goat. I don't know.
I'm going with goat because I think these. I'll be honest. I think
Parting
of Ways is goat as well.
If I had to be honest, in terms of story quality, not necessarily like the fanfare and everything, because if I had to, I would pick Series 4. But out with the Russell T Davies finales, in terms of cohesion and payoff, and this is the best for me. It's not because alright, we do get Deus Ex Machina, but it's the first one, so we're not going, oh God, it's another sort of magic button, or
Yeah.
It's well structured. The Daleks are a credible threat, and there's lots of them. We get to see lots of exactly what you want. You want people fighting the Daleks, and there's that really chilling scene where they enter the game station, and they know full well that they've got to go up to stop the Doctor and everything. But because they know that they've got time to kill, and they know that the people trapped on the floor 0, they don't, instead of just going, right, we're going to go up there, sort this out, they go, oh, we got time, we'll go downstairs and just slaughter everyone.
Yeah,
and there's that whole bit where Linda's listening to it, and you hear them all screaming, and the Daleks blasting, and eventually she, it's the screaming gets quieter, and the Daleks get louder, and she has to just cut it off. It's chilling. And the Emperor Dalek as well. First time since Evil of the Daleks we see the Emperor. Bloody brilliant.
Yeah, they done him bloody well.
It's a lovely design. Nick Briggs does a fantastic performance, having that Dalek go a bit more. He's a little bit more. I don't want to say emotional, but do you know what I mean? Like he's more. I am the god of all Daleks and everything, and
god complexy.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see that because the Daleks so far have been. I mean, the Daleks, to be fair, in this series, they're a bit more characterized.
Yeah, they've
feel as drony as they do later on.
They've evolved quite a bit.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, and it's the idea of using humans and sort of converting them and cannibalizing them into Daleks is very Eric Saywood, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I just think it's fantastic. It's more than fantastic. It's great, and it's got. I love Eccleston's regeneration because it's a bit more subtle. It's a bit more nuanced. There's a bit more optimism. He's there to reassure Rose. He's not panicking, being all, I don't want to go or anything, or going off on these big massive speeches. It is just a very much like, I did a great job, you did a great job, ta-ra.
And it goes into a bit of detail onto the regeneration process as a whole, because you just see this old body's wearing a bit thin, the moment's being prepared for.
Yeah, and his body, he explains quite explicitly.
Yeah, it's like it's a kind of a Time Lord's way of cheating death. It's like, is there nothing you can do? I'm doing it now. The cells in my body, they're all regenerating.
Yeah.
But it just means I'm not going to be me. And I think that's quite nice for new Who fans coming in to, if that's their first series or first time ever watching Doctor Who.
Yeah, I remember. I know it had been announced at the time, but I didn't know Christopher Eccleston was leaving.
Yeah,
I did. I don't know if you did.
No, not at the time because I wasn't really back then in 2005.
Yeah.
Still had dial-up internet.
I didn't have anything, mate, so don't worry about it. But I remember, I think, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't even know. But I pursued my pencil because it was on the news and everything. But I just never caught it. It was never really something. So when he regenerated at the end, it was a big shock. I was like, oh my God, he's regenerated.
We were quite young as well, so it's not like we're going to be watching the news to pay attention to that sort of thing. We're going to be like, you were 5, I was 7. Like, I wasn't particularly into watching the news. I wanted to watch. I wasn't
particularly into watching.
I wanted to watch Power Rangers and play on my PlayStation. That's what I wanted to do when I was 7.
I wanted it to be Saturday all the times the Doctor Who was on.
Yeah.
It was a big shock, and it's I think when he's reassuring Rose, but at the same time he's reassuring the audience as well, because Rose is us in that situation, and he's talking to Rose, but he's also he's quite clearly talking to us.
Yeah, and it's quite good that there is that regeneration. So for the fans of classic who aren't too sure if the revival is going to take off, it was that kind of confirmation that you were getting more Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I think you need it as well, because if you have the first series back and the Doctor's like, no, I don't want to change, and is really fighting against it, the audience are going to fight against it as well. Goes, oh, I'm not going to be as good now. But because he's there, he's like, it's going to be all right. I'm going to change, but everything's going to be all right.
Then I felt like, oh, it may not be as good now that he's gone. Like I've felt that way for a lot of doctors when they've passed in. I see the new Doctor come in. David Tennant, when he first came in, I was like, oh, I don't think it's going to be as good now Christopher Eccleston's gone. Same when Tennant left, I went, it's definitely not going to be as good with Matt Smith. And season 7A, take that out, it was incredible.
Some of 7B as well, and some of Series 6 actually.
Yeah, but
anyway, we are jumping well ahead.
We were jumping well ahead. But then Matt Smith goes, Capaldi, same thing. He really grew into it. Took him a bit longer, but he grew into the role, and he became an incredible Doctor that I didn't want to lose.
Yeah,
and I think that's good that you have that thing, because then it's kind of like you're gonna watch it, 'cause you're gonna want to see how they do, and you know they're gonna have that time to find their version of the character.
Oh yeah, and this is not, it's not completely like, oh my god, I'm going, this is so good. It's very like, you know,
emotional. They don't want it.
But at this point, the Doctor, his character arc, I think the Ninth Doctor has one of the best character arcs for the Doctor. You know, he goes from being this sort of, you know, traumatized, you know, not bitter, but he's a bit more hardened. By the end of it, he's a lot more warmer. He's a lot more energetic. You know, he's smiling more. He's happy to, you know,
So I'm just gonna check that and go.
Yeah,
while you're
absolutely.
talking.
I just think that's a pretty solid series, isn't it? You look at that, you think, you know, no episodes are bad. You got one okay episode, two good, and the rest are fantastic and go.
The one okay episode has nothing to do with the Doctor or Rose as to why it's in okay.
Yeah, it's just, I think I've always said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Rose with Tennant. I don't really buy into I don't think there's chemistry, but I love Nine and Rose. I think it's,
it did grow on me, Tennant and Rose.
Yeah,
it did, and it got.
I did smug in places, I think.
Yeah, I did cry a bit in Doomsday. I did, and that got me a bit.
I just think that series 1 is, as a first series, you know, how many shows do you look at and go, oh yeah, the first out of, you know, all of them was the best? There's not many.
No.
I can think of a couple off the top of my head, to be fair.
No.
Lost.
Love Island. Oh, I'm gonna die tonight.
It's weird.
It was.
If you say so.
Oh, so much drama, Mick. I love it.
Anyway, on that Love Island was the last TV show I ever expected us to mention on this channel. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, I do apologise. You can smack me later. Just not in the ribs, so still sore.
Yeah, I just think looking at that, it's a really strong list of episodes. I think. Oh. I have to go. Maybe I will have to go and watch.
The whole lot.
Anyway, let us know what you think. Did you do we enjoy series 1 as much as us? Do you have different opinions? What would you put in different categories? Do the same tier list and let us know in the comments how you get on.
Yeah. If you want to see more tier lists from us, chuck different Doctors at us.
Yeah.
Classic Who.
We'll do a Paul McGann
series.
one.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Won't take long.
No, just go.
So, bam, done. There we go.
Yeah, we'll get on to that because we do enjoy these. It's just that they are long videos.
Yeah, they are a bit long form, and you know, so we do try to keep it short and snappy, but it's fun.
It is fun.
But like I said, let us know what you think. There's, you know, some really strong stuff in there. We're going to be doing a couple of different things now. Again, we've done a review and tier list now, so we're going to be doing a bit more of our random discussion videos. Next week, we're going to be taking a look at some of Doctor Who's unmade episodes. You know, episodes that were sort of commissioned but never really got made.
And I'm really looking forward to that video.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. So if you've got any any of those that really stand out to you, let us know. We'll have a good chat about them. Yes,
and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All does us a world of good.
Yeah, we've had a couple more now since doing some more of our daft videos, and we're going to be definitely doing a few more of those.
Yeah.
And obviously the Doctor in Distress cover will be coming at the end of April if we hit 100 subscribers.
Yes.
More full us and everyone actually.
If you want to see us cry on the internet, immortalized for all eternity, then hit that sub button.
What a weird way to attract subscribers. Anyway,
yes,
we're going to go now, but yeah.
Have a nice evening.